The global balance of power is shifting fast. The countries you once thought were rising aren't rising anymore. They're arriving. And by 2030, the world map of influence will look completely different. Forget what you think you know. The next superpowers aren't always the loudest or the flashiest. They're the ones quietly building dominance through energy, tech, and military muscle. Some are expanding alliances, others are rewriting the rules altogether. By the end of this decade, these 10 countries won't just be powerful, they'll be calling the shots. From AI breakthroughs to rare earth supply chains, from renewable energy revolutions to military advancements that rival today's giants, this list will change the way you see the future. Let's count down the 10 countries set to dominate the world by 2030. Number 10, Poland. It's the country no one saw coming, but now everyone's watching. Poland has quietly become one of Europe's fastest-growing economies, and by 2030, it could become the continent's new powerhouse. Poland is projected to generate 56% of its electricity from renewables by 2030, according to its national climate plan, up from less than 20% just a few years ago. But this isn't just about going green, it's about independence. By ditching coal and Russian gas, Poland is becoming energy secure, and Europe is taking notice. Beyond energy, Poland is doubling down on defense. It has one of the fastest-growing military budgets in NATO and is positioning itself as a frontline shield between Europe and potential threats from the East. Combine that with booming infrastructure projects, a tech-savvy population, and new EU-backed investments, and you've got a rising star in the European order. But here's the twist. Poland isn't just aligning with Western powers. It's also quietly playing a balancing act between traditional allies and emerging global players. By 2030, don't be surprised if Warsaw is helping steer the future of Europe, not just follow it. Number 9, United Arab Emirates. The UAE might be small in landmass, but in 2025, it's operating like a superpower in training. And by 2030, it could very well be the energy gatekeeper of the modern world. While most countries are still arguing over fossil fuels versus renewables, the UAE is doing both. It's not just reacting to the energy transition, it's designing it. According to a 2025 report from Reuters, the UAE and the US are jointly committing to a massive $440 billion investment in energy through 2035, a dual-track strategy that combines fossil fuel dominance with aggressive scaling of green alternatives like solar, hydrogen, and carbon capture. This isn't just a financial play, it's a geopolitical masterstroke. By positioning itself at the center of both traditional and next-generation energy, the Emirates is making itself indispensable to global powers trying to navigate the energy transition. It's already hosting top-tier energy summits, brokering OPEC+ decisions, and securing long-term influence in Asia, Africa, and Europe. But the UAE isn't stopping at energy. Abu Dhabi and Dubai are racing to become regional command centers for green hydrogen, clean tech, and logistics, industries that will define the next 2 decades. Its ports in Jebel Ali and Fujairah are evolving into global choke points, handling a growing chunk of global trade moving between East and West. Smart city investments are turning these hubs into test beds for AI governance, autonomous transit, and blockchain-based infrastructure. On the global stage, the UAE is playing diplomacy like a grandmaster. It maintains deep military partnerships with the US and Europe, but is simultaneously expanding ties with China, India, and BRICS nations. This balance allows it to mediate in hotspots from Sudan to Ukraine, earning credibility as a neutral power broker. The UAE isn't just talking about multipolarity, it's living it. By 2030, don't be surprised if the UAE isn't just oil-rich, it's influence-rich. With control over energy flows, trade routes, and diplomatic leverage, this desert nation could be one of the world's most quietly powerful players. Number 8, Indonesia. Look closely, and you'll see the next global economic powerhouse emerging not in Europe or the Americas, but in the heart of Southeast Asia. Indonesia, the world's 4th most populous country, is rewriting its story in real time. And by 2030, it won't just be rising, it'll be reshaping global priorities. McKinsey projects Indonesia's economy could become the 7th largest in the world by 2030. That's not speculation. It's backed by a perfect storm of fundamentals: a booming digital economy, sustained manufacturing growth, and a massive youthful workforce. Over 60% of Indonesians are under the age of 35, and they're increasingly tech-savvy, entrepreneurial, and globally connected. But Indonesia's influence isn't just economic, it's strategic. The archipelago controls vital resources needed for the global green transition, including over 21 million metric tons of nickel reserves, critical for EV batteries. Major automakers and tech giants are rushing to secure long-term supply deals, turning Indonesia into a central player in the clean energy supply chain. And there's geopolitics. Indonesia was recently named a BRICS partner country, and that isn't just a title. As BRICS expands to rival Western institutions, Jakarta is stepping up as a neutral yet influential player capable of bridging the global North and South. Its role in ASEAN and its command over the strategic Strait of Malacca give it leverage over regional security and global trade routes. By 2030, Indonesia may not just be the face of Southeast Asia. It could be one of the top-tier countries shaping how the world moves, powers up, and collaborates. And the rest of the world? They're finally starting to pay attention. Number 7. Brazil. The world's attention has shifted back to Latin America, and Brazil is right at the center of the stage. By 2030, this South American giant is poised to become one of the world's most influential players in energy, diplomacy, and food security. It's not just Brazil's natural wealth that's earning attention. It's the country's growing ability to shape the global conversation on sustainability, trade, and multilateralism. In 2025, Brazil assumed the rotating presidency of BRICS, and it's treating the position not as symbolic, but as transformational. Under its leadership, the bloc is accelerating expansion talks, pushing for de-dollarization in global trade, and proposing new financial institutions to rival the IMF and World Bank. Brazil is emerging as a convener, a voice for emerging markets looking to rewrite the rules of the global economic system. And the world is listening. At the core of Brazil's rise is its command over natural resources. It's the world's largest exporter of soybeans, beef, and orange juice. But there's more. Brazil also holds vast reserves of lithium and rare earth minerals, placing it at the heart of the global battery and EV revolution. It's also home to the Amazon rainforest, not just an ecological treasure, but a key geopolitical asset in climate negotiations. Brazil has pledged new protections and carbon credits, giving it added leverage in global climate talks. Meanwhile, Brazil's energy mix is already among the greenest on the planet. Over 80% of its electricity comes from renewables, hydropower, wind, and a growing share of biofuels. The country is now exporting that expertise to African and Asian partners, helping shape the future of sustainable development abroad while reaping influence at home. Brazil's diplomatic muscle is growing just as fast. It's deepening ties with China, the EU, and India while maintaining a working relationship with the US. That flexibility to navigate across power blocks without becoming trapped in any of them gives Brazil an agility most nations lack. With strategic geography, vast agricultural exports, a booming clean energy economy, and global diplomatic reach, Brazil isn't just a regional force anymore. It's stepping into the world spotlight, and it's not backing down. Number 6. Japan. Don't let Japan's calm exterior fool you. Beneath the surface, the country is orchestrating a high-stakes transformation. By 2030, Japan could re-emerge as one of the most technologically advanced, economically strategic, and militarily fortified nations on Earth. It's not a comeback fueled by nostalgia. It's one driven by necessity and precision. Japan is doubling down on innovation with surgical focus. According to Deloitte's 2025 outlook, Japan is pouring billions into advanced manufacturing, AI, quantum computing, and next-generation robotics. These aren't just flashy investments. They're tightly integrated into its export economy. Japan already dominates high-precision machinery and semiconductor equipment, and it's setting itself up to lead the next era of industrial technology. Defense is also front and center. In response to growing threats from North Korea and tensions with China, Japan is rapidly upgrading its missile defense systems, naval fleet, and cyber capabilities. In partnership with the US, it's positioning itself as the Indo-Pacific's defensive bulwark, but with greater autonomy than ever before. Recent defense policy shifts mark a quiet departure from its post-Watu pacifist stance. Japan is no longer content being protected. It's preparing to protect itself. Energy security is another major driver of Japan's strategic shift. With limited natural resources, Japan is betting big on offshore wind, hydrogen, and small modular nuclear reactors. These technologies aren't just about keeping the lights on, they're about making Japan energy independent in a volatile world. Lessons from past energy shocks like the 2011 Fukushima disaster have fueled an obsession with resilience and redundancy. Japan's cultural reach remains massive, from anime to fashion to food, but now it's pairing that soft power with hard strategy. It's building new trade routes with Southeast Asia, reinvigorating tech alliances with India and South Korea, and investing in space exploration with a long-term eye on lunar resource extraction. Culturally influential, economically strategic, and now geopolitically assertive, Japan is rewriting its role on the world stage. By 2030, expect it to be a tech powerhouse, a security pillar in Asia, and a key architect of global innovation and stability. Number 5. Turkey. Turkey is no longer just a bridge between East and West, it's becoming a full-fledged geopolitical force in its own right. By 2030, this strategically vital nation could be one of the most influential middle powers on the planet, wielding growing control over energy corridors, regional trade, defense innovation, and global diplomacy. And while others compete for dominance, Turkey is quietly building leverage where it counts most. Its geography already makes it indispensable. Turkey controls the Bosporus and Dardanelles Straits, lifelines for global grain and oil shipments. But Ankara isn't just sitting on its geographic advantage, it's turning it into a platform for global influence. From hosting peace talks between rival factions in the Middle East to managing energy pipelines between Asia and Europe, Turkey has transformed into a crucial diplomatic and logistical hub. Its ability to negotiate with both NATO and Russia, often at the same time, is proof of its growing diplomatic dexterity. Economically, Turkey is drawing investor attention as a relative safe haven during Western market volatility. According to AGBI, investors have been shifting billions into Turkish real estate, infrastructure, and green tech. On the sustainability front, the numbers are staggering. Turkey exceeded its 2025 solar capacity goals nearly 2 years ahead of schedule, doubling solar output in just 30 months, as reported by Ember. Now, it's scaling up wind, hydro, and energy storage, transforming from a fossil-dependent state to an emerging green power exporter. And Turkey defense industry is rapidly evolving. The country's drones, particularly those produced by Baykar, have changed battlefield dynamics from Ukraine to North Africa. But this is just the beginning. Turkey is investing heavily in space tech, cybersecurity, hypersonic weapons, and naval shipbuilding, aiming to elevate itself into a top-tier regional defense power. Its military partnerships now stretch from Central Asia to North Africa, giving it a network of influence few saw coming. In a fragmented world where alliances are shifting and trust is thin, Turkey is thriving in the gray zone, not choosing sides, but mastering the art of balance. By 2030, it could be one of the most underestimated and indispensable powers shaping global decisions from behind the scenes. Number 4. Vietnam. Vietnam has quietly become one of the most dynamic economies in Asia, but now the world is finally catching on. By 2030, this resilient Southeast Asian nation could be a global manufacturing superpower, a rising geopolitical player, and a critical bridge between the East and West in a deeply divided global order. Vietnam's economy is forecasted to grow at over 6% annually through the decade, and it's not just a statistic, it's a signal. Major tech giants like Apple, Intel, and Samsung are expanding their operations in Vietnam, moving core segments of their supply chains away from China. The reason? Vietnam combines political stability, low labor costs, and robust trade agreements across Asia and the West, making it a near-perfect base for global production. But Vietnam isn't just attracting factories. It's investing billions into digital transformation, smart manufacturing, and green energy. The country is rapidly expanding its solar and wind capacity and rolling out digital infrastructure to support e-commerce, logistics, and fintech innovation. This isn't just about GDP growth. It's about becoming the next tech-enabled, export-driven economic powerhouse in Asia. Geopolitically, Vietnam is stepping into new territory. In June 2025, it was admitted as a BRICS partner country, signaling its elevation from regional actor to global influencer. This move, alongside its deepening strategic partnerships with the US, Japan, India, and ASEAN members, positions Vietnam as a central node in the reshaping Indo-Pacific order. Vietnam isn't just rising, it's positioning itself at the heart of tomorrow's power dynamics. By 2030, don't be surprised if this once-overlooked country is commanding boardrooms, summits, and supply chains around the globe. Number 3. India. India isn't just rising, it's accelerating. By 2030, it's projected to become the world's third-largest economy, And that's just the beginning. This is a nation on the brink of a historic transformation, and it's bringing over 1 billion people with it. The numbers speak for themselves. According to Business Insider and Davos 2024 panels, India is on a tear. Strong GDP growth, surging foreign investment, and an expanding middle class that could rival the size of the entire U.S. population. Cities like Bengaluru and Hyderabad are becoming global tech hubs. Startups are booming. Infrastructure megaprojects, highways, bullet trains, digital IDs are reshaping daily life. But India's ambitions go well beyond economics. It's investing heavily in AI, space, defense, and semiconductor manufacturing. With government initiatives like Make in India and Digital India, it's aiming not just to catch up, but to lead. The country is also emerging as a diplomatic heavyweight, balancing ties with the West, Russia, and the global South through platforms like BRICS, the Quad, and the G20. Demographically, India holds a trump card: its youth. With a median age of 28, it has one of the youngest populations on Earth. That means more workers, more innovation, and more consumers driving global demand. By 2030, India won't just be a market. It'll be a magnet for investment, influence, and innovation, and the rest of the world will need to keep up. Number 2, China. For years, China was the rising power. In 2025, it's already a dominant force, and by 2030, it may well be the world's most strategically positioned nation. China is expanding on all fronts: militarily, economically, and ideologically. According to Business Insider, the country is on track to have as many ICBMs as the US and Russia combined by 2030. But it's not just about weapons. China is investing in space, AI, EVs, and global infrastructure through its Belt and Road Initiative, shaping the architecture of tomorrow's economy. It's also pushing hard on the BRICS front, not just as a member, but as the driving force. Le Monde reports that China is spearheading efforts to expand BRICS and legitimize an alternative global order. Its influence now reaches deep into Africa, Latin America, and Central Asia, places once seen as peripheral, now central to Beijing's long-term vision. At home, China is battling economic slowdowns and demographic shifts, but it's adapting fast. It's doubling down on domestic innovation, boosting state-led investment in AI and green energy, and localizing critical supply chains. Its EV market is already the largest in the world, and Chinese brands are now competing with and beating global giants. By 2030, China won't just be a manufacturing hub or a military rival. It'll be a full-spectrum power, capable of shaping trade, technology, finance, and diplomacy. For allies and adversaries alike, ignoring China will no longer be an option. Number 1, the United States. Yes, despite everything, the US still holds the top spot. And by 2030, America won't just remain powerful, it may become more dominant in the ways that matter most. While headlines focus on polarization and global backlash, the U.S. continues to lead in areas that define modern power: innovation, military reach, cultural influence, and financial architecture. Its tech sector, home to giants like Apple, NVIDIA, OpenAI, and SpaceX, is shaping the future of AI, semiconductors, quantum computing, and space exploration. Militarily, the U.S. remains unmatched. It maintains over 750 overseas bases and controls global logistics through air, sea, and cyberspace. Its alliances, NATO, AUKUS, the Quad, form a strategic web that spans continents. And with increased focus on Pacific deterrence, the U.S. is doubling down on staying ahead in East Asia. The dollar still dominates global finance. U.S. universities still attract the world's best minds. And American media, culture, and branding, from TikTok trends to Hollywood, still shape global imagination. Even in a multipolar world, the U.S. has unmatched soft power. But here's the key: America's greatest strength may be its ability to reinvent itself. While other nations rise, the U.S. adapts, absorbing talent, correcting course, and innovating at scale. If it continues to invest in education, infrastructure, and strategic diplomacy, the U.S. could not only hold its position, it could redefine global leadership for a new era. The future isn't about who has the biggest army or the most money. It's about who can adapt, innovate, and lead. By 2030, the 10 countries on this list won't just influence the world, they'll shape it. From energy revolutions in the UAE to AI frontiers in Japan, from Vietnam's supply chain dominance to Brazil's green transformation, we're entering a new age of global competition and cooperation. The world isn't getting flatter, It's getting more layered, more complex, and more dynamic. Which country surprised you most? Which one do you think should have made the list? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to understand where the world is headed. Thanks for watching Globe Discoveries, where global trends come to life.